Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here, as we're about to title today's video, here to showcase the best power forward build you can make for Comp Pro-Am in NBA 2K24. So, in today's video we have the 6'8". It's very traditional, it's very accustomed to what most people make for their power forward builds, but we have a little bit of a twist on it in terms of the play style you're going to want to get out of it. So, in today's video, we have the 6'8", 7'5" wingspan. I also have an alternative weird position build where it could be a lock power forward hybrid, where if you want to run two of these on the team at the same time, playing at the 3 and the 4, I think it could be really valid. And it also achieves that 87 mid-range for the Tracy McGrady base, which we've talked about a lot between the shooting guards and the locks and the power forwards now. Anyway, we'll get to that in a bit. I know it's going to be a little bit of an odd thing to make a power forward at 6'7" for Comp Pro-Am, but it's definitely something I think has some wheels to it. Now, to talk a little bit more traditional, going 6'8" right here with the 7'5" wingspan, I did take it down one to be able to get 86 mid. It's going to be something that we wanted to put on the build for the sake of we have post control upgraded as well, so to get post fade phenom on Hoff, as well as to get that 86 midi for the gold open looks. It's a pretty nice thing to go for, in my opinion. It doesn't give you that T-Mac base because you will need an 87 for it, but we'll go over all the intricate things of why this power forward height is very hard and complex to create. But anyway, the reason it's at small forward is because you get normal dribble style by default for having a small forward rather than a power forward. So if that works out for you positionally between you and your team, I would definitely advocate for that, because sacrificing that 8 ratings on the speed of ball to be able to get the normal dribble style regardless of not having 40 is pretty nice. It does let you get a couple things that we're trying to really penny pinch for. Like in this case, it was what allowed me to get that defensive rebound to 92 instead of, I mean, look at that. It's actually pretty expensive in terms of getting that speed with ball up on a build like this. But anyway, it doesn't have Hall of Fame box out beast. This is a hybrid build that's a little bit more perimeter D based. As you can see, it's one of the weird kind of bridges between perimeter defense and rebounding, where we have 93 prim with gold clamps. We don't get Hoff Challenger because I'll go over all the intricate things like I just explained of these back end builds in a second. But 95 steal for the Hoff Interceptor, very nice. Obviously it's something that's going to allow you to play on ball D really well too with getting plucks, and then also still play crazy lanes in just hawking that stuff. 87 block and 82 interior defense. You might be wondering, why did I justify going so high? I think back end builds are the one build that you should justify having a good block and interior defense on. I think the interior D to overcome your lack of height when it comes to defending down low with the 7-footers and stuff like that, it's not really super necessary in my opinion, but what is necessary is going to be the block. Now, this is to also mention, maybe to give you some counter to a 5-out team. If you are the power forward, potentially your lockdown doesn't have great interior D. It may give you a potential option as far as what you could put on a 5-out point guard with the build like this, which would give you the post lockdown. And then on top of that too, I think anchor and chase down are very important when it comes to being a back end build, because you're doing a lot of stepping at the point guards and hedge defense in a more like basketball term, if you will. But yeah, for the most part, gold chase down, silver anchor, gold rebound chaser, I'm liking it. It is only gold box out beast, obviously, with the 84 strength, that's all we can get. So going for the 93 rebound doesn't really justify too much, because unfortunately, as you can see, I'll showcase all the different like kind of innuendo things that you need to know about back end builds in just this frame of the video right here. All right, so as you can see, these are the HeightWeight wingspans that are listed for the build that we were already showcasing with the 86 mid-range. Now, to be fair, if you wanted to, what you could do is not care about that 86 midi. If you're not really caring about that Hoff post fade phenom and the gold open looks, you'd rather just be able to play like elite defense and rebounding. What you could do off that is to go with the 6'8", 233, 7'6" wingspan. You do lose one level of fast feet going from silver to bronze. It's not a huge deal, but it is something to still consider a little bit. But as you can see, you can still keep that 93 prim D while upping your ability to be able to get the 90 strength for the Hoff box out beast, and to also get gold immovable enforcer as well. So it is a valid thing to go for, 100%. I would actually say that it is pretty justified to go with something like this, but just want to continue explaining to you guys how this stuff works. So then if you want to go to the 87 mid-range to be able to get that Tracy McGrady base, you're now looking at a very tough situation to be able to achieve anything in terms of getting that like Hoff box out beast, because you will still need a 93 D board for that. So if you do end up trying to go for that, you're going to miss out on the prim D being able to get that gold clamps. But on top of that too, it's not even just the clamps that you're losing, it's also the ability to get Hoff Interceptor with your max steal rating being 94 at this point. So there's so many different levels of these like small little attributes that you can kind of like budge a little bit when it comes to these power forward builds, and it's really tough to figure out the perfect one. So if you're cool with not having that 86 mid-range for the Hoff post fade phenom and then the Hoff the gold open looks as well, this is a really good situation to be in. You still get bases like Nazir Little. I've already showcased to you guys what that looks like. It's the jump shot I've mainly used, and it has a really good lean back to it, so it's still a very good jump shot if you'd like to try that out. It's just you're only missing out on the 86 mid range, which once again, not a huge deal hypothetically, but because we're allowing ourselves the opportunity to get a couple more ratings, like for instance the 93 D board, and then to also get with the 90 strength, we need to, you know, budge on a couple attribute ratings in terms of lowering them down. So we ended up lowering the interior defense down a little bit. Obviously the mid-range goes down one level as well, but for the most part that's about all it took. And now, as you can see, you're looking at a back end build with Hoff box out beast, gold rebound chaser, you got the gold immovable enforcer as well, and gold brick wall if you happen to want to utilize a build like this on threes, because I think this is a very good threes build. I mean, you can still utilize it in pick and roll, pick and pop. It's got amazing versatility on defense. You can play it at the lock, or you can play it at the big, anything you want to do with it. So it's a very good park build for that matter too. But again, between brick wall, movable enforcer, and box out beast, 90 strength is a very nice thing to go for while still keeping good speed. You know, the acceleration enough to have bronze fast feet. It's nothing amazing or anything like that, but it gets the job done, obviously. And then 80 vertical, still good as well. So if you want the more defensive version, this is the type of 6'8 I'm talking about. If you want to reference a more offensive version that has the post fade phenom and gold open looks, then you'd be looking at the previous version that I showcased other than that. And again, like small little things like the interior D being a little bit higher, because with this one we just have to budge on a couple ratings. As you can see, there's not a whole lot to put back into it, so whatever you want to do with the remaining attribute points, there's not a whole lot to budge on perfectly, so we'll just throw it into free throw and call it a day. But anyway, that is our look at the traditional 6'8 type back end. But now let's go ahead and take a look at the weirdo build. Also, if you guys didn't know, I'm pairing up with the NBA 2K Lab this year, so you can use code Laker for 20% off at checkout at their website. That's NBA2KLab.com. On this website is all types of really good statistical jump shot information. You can also test the jumpers on their website too. Plug the controller straight into your phone or to your PC. You can get early, green, late. It'll tell you where you need to adjust on that jump shot. Or if you don't know what jumper you want to run, you just go to their jump shot recommender. You punch in your height, the jump shot rating that you're working with, and then based on the milliseconds of timing that you get, it'll recommend you a jump shot. So again, if you want to use code Laker for 20% off at checkout, that's NBA2KLab.com. Appreciate you guys, and we'll get back to the video. So we have this build listed at power forward. It's 6'7 with 246 on the weight and 7'4 wingspan. Now, if you want to do the same thing where you're gonna, like, you know, do the small forward thing and make it with just like 34 speed with ball, because again, we want to max out that speed, but if you want to make it as small forward and give it 34 speed with ball, you have a couple more attribute points to like kind of budge on and move and stuff like that. But we're just going to go ahead and showcase this one at power forward. Like I said, the main outlook on a build like this is to be pairing it with another build that's very similar to this at the small forward position, where you'd play double 6'7s and play like sides defense between the two of you and elite box out ability between the two of you, even still with 95 strength and 93 D board. Do not sleep on how well you're going to box out with a build like this. Rebounding itself might be a little bit tougher, but that's where you're ideally going to have a center dropping out the corner and playing for those rebounds anyway. And besides that, it's still very good on speed, the 95 strength to get the Hoff movable enforcer while still keeping things like 94 prim D and 95 steal. It's elite. It's really, really good, keeping 87 block and 82 interior D, once again for the same things we just talked about previously with the whole 5-out post defense kind of like guarding, and then also to still be able to hang a little bit better, because again, you are still 6'7 at the end of the day, so to have your interior D and block a little bit higher can definitely help you in some of those situations to bail you out with the lack of size. But regardless, again, we're talking normal dribble style, normal SIGs. They're going to be very nice to have. 87 mid-range for that T-Mac base. This is one thing that's very special about 6'7 builds rather than 6'8s, is you can go max wingspan 6'7 and still keep 87 mid-range, whereas to get 87 mid on a 6'8, you got to really go down like 2 or 3 ticks on it, and it's a little bit tedious. Now, we obviously don't have very much to the offensive end on the build like this. It's not very good dunk, it's not very good standing dunk, it's not very good post control in comparison to the other build that we showcased. If you ever wanted to rearrange some stuff for like post scoring or more dunk, I guess you could go for that, but I'm here to tell you guys right now, the dunk is extremely expensive on builds like this, and with one that you're trying to be very heavy variety when it comes to the defense in terms of like the interior D, prim D, steal, block, D board, elite as well, good physicals all across the board with like the 95 strength, it's a little bit harder to be able to do something on the offensive end. And for that matter too, I think with a build like this, if you plan to put it at the power forward position, you're going to be guarded by centers more often than not. It's not very consistently that you're going to be able to backdoor them too often. And again, that's why it's kind of cool to utilize a build like this at the 4, even though you're 6'7, because you're going to give centers a hard time having to deal with someone like you in the corner. They're not used to guarding dudes with T-Mac base and like not understanding that they can't drop so far when they're guarding a build like this. It's actually quite interesting to think about a build like this being at the 4. I haven't seen it yet this year, and that's why obviously I didn't showcase it first, because the more meta sense is going to be that 6'8 that we just showcased, especially the defensive one as well. But this is something different that I think provides a very, very weird aspect, and also a lot of versatility for that matter too, between the fact that it can play the 3 and the 4 elite, and could still be a good park build as well for that matter. I mean, again, it's more of a role player, it's more of a spot up, understandably so, but your mid-range game is going to be really good, and you can still create the middies a lot as well with this ball handle and speed of ball. Don't sleep on it too much. Acceleration is still looking pretty good too for the sake of creating, but obviously we have this more for the defensive end, and obviously it gets forced up with Prim D anyway, so it is what it is. But anyway, yeah, between the ability that it has on the box outs with the crazy strength and the good, like, you know, defensive rebound and speed, and then also what it provides as an on-ball defender as well. I mean, you could be looking at a situation where you're having a true double press, like pure sides D, where you can switch your 4 and your 3 entirely because they're almost the exact same build, and they're never going to get a better look. So pick and roll is only to manipulate those openings in the slips. It's never going to be to create a mismatch because you have the exact same matchup at the 3 and the 4 most likely. So again, if you both have great D-board, nobody gets punished for switching on to the big. If you both have great Prim D and steal, no one gets punished for switching on to the guard. I think it's a really good marriage if you happen to be able to pair another build like this with it at the 3. So anyway, that's all video. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new to notice, all that good stuff. And like always, try to 1 to 2,000 likes. Made it to the end of the video, put 6'8 or put 6'7 in the comments. Show support to me all the way through. And again, just one last reminder, the 6'8 is definitely the more meta style. If you're getting into comp pro-am and you don't want people to look at you the wrong way, obviously a 6'8 is always going to be the thing that gets the job done, or, like, you know, gets you on board, if you get what I'm saying. But if you happen to have a team already and you want to get a little weird, I think something like this, the 6'7, could be really lethal. And again, it's just to be able to create the opportunity of having more speed while still having elite strength, while still having everything that we wanted on the other build with the 94 Prim and the 93 defensive rebound and the high steal and stuff like that too. It's just 1 inch of height. It's low-key a pretty slept-on build. But anyway, that's all for video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like I said, all the good stuff. But other than that, take it easy, man. Peace.